Gordon, we jumping. We all pause out here. Henry Jr.,
Jessica and Queen.
we happily married TV. Let's get off pause over here. What are you doing?
You gonna say hi? You're gonna say hi? Look at the camera.
Oh, you're
Say
starting.
hi.
I'm like,
Hi.
all right.
Queen's almost 4 months old.
Almost 4 months.
She can roll over and she could sit up. Like if she leaning back on you, she could sit forward.
Yep.
She's mastered at holding her head up, as you can see. That's all her.
All right, so let's talk about it. That's gonna be our intro every time we come on. We're gonna be like, let's talk about it.
So I thought it was 24.
It is.
We got 25 there. So this is episode 24, and we're talking about bank accounts. But we're gonna break it down a little bit more than that. But our main topic is bank accounts.
Yeah. So So why do you have a bank account versus cash? Why we should have a bank account versus cash?
So I mean, some people will have different opinions about this, and you might want to research, different kinds of banks, because me and Henry just did that tonight, the difference between a bank and a credit union.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of people will use, like, their savings account as their primary account that they hold their money in, and then they move money to their checking account when they're going to make purchases, because your savings account isn't linked to a bank card. Obviously, your checking account is. So if your checking account bank card gets compromised, they'll be able to access that money that's in your checking account. But if you have money in your savings account, that only can be accessible if they actually have your account number, which that would be very hard for somebody to get a hold of. So primarily the purpose for having a bank account is because you can make digital transactions. So you can have your direct deposit, you can have, you could pay online, monthly, where automatically, automatic transactions where automatically pays your bill on the same day of the month. We do that with a lot of our bills, like all of our bills. The only bills that I don't pay, that don't come automatically, are the bills that I pay with my mom, like our utilities and stuff. But everything else comes out automatically. So that's the primary difference. Because if you have cash, you're going to have to drive around and go to here and there and everywhere to pay your bills. So that's the primary reason that we have a bank account or bank accounts, which we'll talk more on that.
Yeah, versus cash.
There's nothing wrong with having cash. Just letting you know that. It's okay to have liquid money.
Yeah, I never have a bank account until we was about to get married, so I always had cash, and then I started figuring out that you can't pay bills online without a bank account.
Right.
So.
Well, you can have, like, the debit cards, like the NetSpend cards or the Green Dot cards or Vanilla Visas, all those kind, but some of those have restrictions. And there are certain institutions, certain companies that won't accept those. They'll only accept a debit card that's linked to a checking account or an actual credit card. Which that's a whole another topic. It's credit cards.
Right. I mean, we got like 10.
Oh shoot! I never started the timer. It ain't been no 5 minutes.
I can find out.
All right, we'll find out. Security. Security.
It has been. It's been 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
All right.
So just put it at 10 minutes. By the time you get that, them 30 seconds will be gone. All right, you going?
So, yep. So we're going to talk about type of account. Did you have anything to say about cash and bank accounts?
Nah, I'm cool with that.
So type of accounts, I kind of alluded on that already. So you have, regular checking account. You have a savings account. You can have, I don't know all the terminologies for them, but you have, like, CDs. You have, which just means that there's different savings account that have different restrictions, allow you to build more interest and to they have a higher interest rate for you to build wealth, basically. Like, so if you put $5 in the account, over time you could build that up to $50 or whatever. That's a small amount to start with, but you know what I mean. When Henry and I, when I first started working at Speedway, I didn't have a checking account. I always had cash, and I'd put the rest of my money that I wanted to save in my savings account that I had since I was 5 years old. I started a bank account. Well, my mom did when I was about 5 or 6 at Bank One. Excuse me, you got to be my age to remember Bank One. But yeah. So when Henry and I got together, we got the joint account. Now, there are other accounts that are not strictly at a bank. Like, we have our emergency fund, which is an account. But it's actually a mutual fund where we invest in mutual funds. So that is still an account. It's still the means of building wealth and saving money. It's just we we invest a certain amount each month, and then it is divided off into different mutual funds, and we build money. It builds money. Now, it's very low risk, so we don't make a whole bunch of money off of it, but we've done okay with that.
And that goes down to find out. You should go to your banks and credit unions and all that and find out what their percentage rate on your money is. Because I think banks offer 0.01. So I put a post on there before that was like, so for every $100 you getting a penny.
Basically.
Like, so just do the math. So if you got $1,000 in there, you just earned you $1.
And before I just thought of something. So the reason why we went from having a savings account to emergency fund, and we call it emergency fund, but it can be, whatever fund you want it to be. But the purpose of it is that the money's not liquid, meaning you can't just go to the bank and get it out. Like, we just can't go and get it out. We can get it out. It's our money, and we don't, have any. You have to leave the money in there for, I think it was a year. And then after that, if you took money out before the year was up, you would have to pay a certain amount of taxes on it or whatever. But because the money goes in there after it's already been taxed from our income, you don't have to pay taxes to get it out. But the reason why we do that is because that money, we want to have to make a good decision about why we're getting that money out. And we've only got money out of it twice since we started the account. The year before Henry and I got married, so it was like 6 years ago. So that's what you should and you shouldn't have all your money in the same place. Don't have all your eggs in the same basket, because what if the basket falls and all your eggs break? So just be mindful of that. And all of these topics that we're talking about, we've learned these from our financial advisor. So if you want to talk to him, if you want to get his information from us, let us know. His services are absolutely, completely, 100% free to talk to him. Now, there are services that he provides that is up to you what you choose to do, and it does. You gotta have money, but you can. We started off when we first started off our emergency fund. We were putting $50 a month. That was $25 for him, $25 for me. I guarantee every single person watching this video got $50 a month that they could put up somewhere. I'm just saying.
Oh. Shit, she was going. I didn't want to interrupt her.
My fault. Money is my thing.
Yeah, so I guess see, it's like a way we break, like, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harvey Eker. The moral of this whole story is the whole show we doing tonight. The moral of the story. You just valid. That ain't the moral of the story. The moral of the whole story is it's not about how much money you have to manage. It's the habit of managing money. Because, like, if you can manage a little bit, then you'll get more to manage. And if you can manage that, then you'll get more to manage. And if you can manage that, then you'll get more to manage. So you just got to be able to understand
we got 5 minutes, baby.
You got to understand it's the habit of managing money. Okay, so talk about some separate, some accounts you can set up out here. You can put them in a shoebox. Your account could be a shoebox.
Or envelopes.
Yeah.
Or
buckets.
Candy jars, or any way to separate it, to indicate that they have separation.
Yeah, so, well, our first account is the necessities account. That's our joint account. Like, that's what we live off of, basically. Like it's the bare. It's not minimum, but it's like the bare minimum you can live off of. You know what I mean? Like you got to simplify your life down. Like get rid of everything you don't need. Like we don't have cable.
We haven't had cable.
Like we haven't.
Well, we didn't have cable when we lived in the apartment, and then when we moved with my mom, we had cable here, but we eventually got rid of it. So
yeah, so we living off of Netflix, Hulu,
and the
Fire Stick,
and the antenna.
And the antenna, and that's costing us what?
$70. Well,
internet too.
Like $100 altogether.
$100 altogether, and it used to be
$215.
$215. So we saving $115 on that. That's what I mean when I say simplify. Like you can make it. You just gotta understand that you don't need everything that you think you do.
Well, and the purpose of him telling you that is that a lot of people say, "Well, I don't have any money to save. I don't have enough money to save." Yes, you do.
Yeah, you can find some money somewhere.
You could put $5 up a month, $5 up a week. That's $20.
Okay, so the necessities. How much money we got?
3.
Oh shoot. Okay, we're gonna talk about the necessities account, and that's where we're gonna end this. Then we're gonna get on YouTube and talk about the rest. Well, no, we already talked about the necessities account. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the play account. We're gonna talk about how. Oh, my fault. The financial freedom account. Yeah, we talk about the financial freedom account. Now that's strictly for investments or passive income. Like I have made a separate account for an investment account from our bank account because I want to know, like, if I see $100 in there, that I can invest the whole $100 without having to worry about, okay, 70 of this might be for a bill or 20 of this might be for gas. You know what I mean? So I got a totally separate, different account just for the financial freedom account, and that's like completely separate, and it's kind of sweet.
And you don't even have to. We only have a couple minutes on this, but the thing to focus on is that you take whatever amount of money you have that you can do without. You know, if it's $20, $50, $100, whatever amount that is, and then you divide it off into these accounts we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So there was one of the stories in the book that we read. You know, the lady had $10, and she put $1 in each account. And she just kept doing that. And then eventually she had $5 she could put in there. And then $20 she could put in there. And eventually she had enough money in all those accounts that she didn't have to work. You know, because she had built enough wealth off of the money. And I'm not saying you just put it in a shoebox and you just let it sit there. That's just an example to help you get prepared to save the money. But eventually you're going to invest that into different things. Yeah. You know, in mutual funds, you can invest it in stocks, you can invest it into businesses, you can invest it into people and your own businesses, but the purpose is knowing that you can save the money. Henry and I are so used to saving money now that we hardly ever spend any money on each other. Like, our anniversary, I bought myself Instapot, and Henry still has to buy himself for anything for our anniversary. But when he's ready to get something, he'd be like, look, I'm going to get these shoes or I'm going to get this tie for my anniversary, even though it's 4 months later. You know, because we're more focused about saving money than spending money.
How many minutes we got?
We have 1.
All right, we got 1 minute. So, yeah, y'all, we're going to talk about the play account. We're going to talk about a long-term savings for spending account, an education account, and your give account. So, you know what I mean? We're going to talk, and then we're going to talk about separate accounts and budgeting, and then we're going to talk about how budgeting helped us like tremendously. Well, Sweetie was budgeting anyway, but I talked with my guy and we figured out some stuff, so it helped us tremendously. But yeah, we about to so that's 5 more accounts we got to talk about. Yeah, YouTube it, get that channel. If you don't, it'll be on Facebook tomorrow, but it's cool. I ain't mad at you. Yeah, so that's that. We're gonna talk about these 5 other accounts and how to do all that, and we off pause out here. Oh,
bye.
This is Happily Married. Oh, gotta flex on them. Stop this first.